You buy a rental property and rent is $2,000 a month. Mortgage, taxes, and insurance run about $1,350. So the property clears $650 a month, right? Not necessarily. That number skips vacancy, repairs, maintenance, property management, turnover, major systems, and the money you should be setting aside for things that haven't broken yet. This is exactly how a rental that looks great on a spreadsheet starts disappointing you in real life. In this video, I'll show you the numbers to track after buying a rental property so you can tell whether it's actually performing the way you expected. Before you buy, everything is projected: rent, expenses, cash flow, return. Once you own it, projections have to be replaced with actual numbers, and it sounds obvious, but most new investors keep judging a property against the spreadsheet they built before buying it. They remember this should make $500 a month, then 6 months later have no idea whether it did. Owning a rental is where your assumptions meet reality. Now we'll use one example property for the series: a 3-bedroom rental. Purchase price is $165,000, renovations $25,000. Total cash invested after down payment and closing costs and repairs, about $45,000. Rent, $2,050 a month. Mortgage, taxes, insurance are another $1,280. Someone runs that math and says, great, that's $770 a month in cash flow. Rent minus payment. Done. That's not the number I'd track as cash flow. We still have to account for what it costs to actually operate the thing. So number one, gross rent collected. How much rent did you actually collect? Not what the lease says, what came in. Scheduled rent here is $24,600 a year. A late payment, an early move out, a few weeks empty, and actual collected rent lands at $22,800. That $1,800 gap matters. Track it monthly. Don't bury it inside one vague number called income. Number two is vacancy. Vacancy isn't a future risk, it's a current cost. At $2,050 a month, this property loses about $68 a day it sits empty, plus its own expenses: utilities, cleaning, advertising, and leasing. A 1-month vacancy can cost more than 1 month of rent. Track the days empty and the income lost. A rental doesn't perform on its best month. It performs for the full year. One clean month with no repair tells you almost nothing. You need enough time to watch vacancy, maintenance, turnover, and taxes actually show up. If you want help spotting how similar presentations use ideal months to make rentals look easier than they are, then grab the free summer survival guide in the description below. Number three, debt service. Track exactly what you pay towards financing: principal, interest, mortgage insurance, and escrow. Your loan payment holds steady, but your total payment won't, because taxes and insurance move inside it. Say $1,280 becomes $1,345 when insurance jumps. That's $780 a year, and you've never touched the loan. Number four, property taxes. Escrow taxes are easy to stop thinking about. Don't. Track the actual bill, reassessments, rate changes, and lost exemptions all moving. A rental that penciled out at $2,400 in actual taxes looks a lot different investment at $3,600. Number five is insurance. Track the premium on its own line, not buried inside the mortgage payment. Coverage requires change, deductibles rise, carriers drop risks. Budget $1,500 and get a renewal quote of $2,300, and you've just absorbed an $800 hit. Number six, routine maintenance. Maintenance isn't major repairs, it's the small reoccurring stuff: HVAC servicing, minor plumbing, appliance repairs, pest control, landscaping. Track every bit of it. $175 in February, $320 in May, $90 in July, $450 in October. That's $1,035 you'd otherwise wave off as random little expenses. Next time someone tells you a rental produces $600 a month, ask before or after maintenance, before or after vacancy, before or after management reserves. Two investors can describe the exact same property with two completely different cash flow numbers, just by using different definitions. Number seven is major repairs and capital expenses. Eventually, the big stuff wears out: roof, HVAC, water heater, sewer line. It doesn't hit every month, which is exactly why beginners underestimate it. An $8,000 HVAC system lasting 8 more years feels far away, but the property uses up every part of it every year. That's why investors set aside a capital reserve. Not every leftover dollar is profit. Some belongs to next year's repair. Number 8, property management. Even if you self-manage, management has a cost. Your time and calls, tenant communication, and bookkeeping. Include a management line even if you're doing it for free right now. At 8% of R22.8 in collected rent, that's $1,824 a year. It's big enough to move the return. Number 9, turnover cost. Turnover stacks several expenses at once. Tenant leaves after 13 months, 900 in paint and repairs, 300 in cleaning, 250 utilities and lawn care, $750 leasing, plus a month of lost rent at $2,050 a month. That totals $4,250. If you were telling people the property made $500 a month, one turnover just erased 8 months of that. Number 10, owner paid utilities and services. Depending on the lease, you may cover water, trash, common area, electric, lawn care, HOA fees. Track each on its own line. When one creeps up, you want to know which. Number 11, legal, accounting, and administrative costs. Bookkeeping, tax prep, legal consultations, licensing. You won't assign all of it to one property, and that's fine. Just know that gross property cash flow and actual business profit are 2 different numbers. Number 12, actual cash flow. Now the real number. Gross collected rent at $22,800. Subtract debt service, tax, and insurance included, $15,360. Maintenance is $1,200. Vacancy is $1,500. Management $1,824. Capital reserve $1,200. Owner paid miscellaneous $600. That leaves $1,116 for the year, about $93 a month. Remember where we started, $770? And we haven't hit a single major repair yet. That doesn't automatically make this a bad investment. Principal is paying down, the property may appreciate and rents may rise. Those are real, but they're not monthly cash flow. Know which part of your return is doing the work. Number 13, cash on cash return. $1,116 divided by the $45,000 invested is about 2.5%. If you'd originally projected a $6,000 a year, that's $13.3 on the same $45,000. That gap is the whole story. Was rent lower? Did vacancy run longer? Did repairs blow past budget? Now you have a question worth answering. Number 14, reserves. Track the actual cash sitting ready for this property, not your credit limit, not next month's hoped-for income. If the roof needs $9,000 tomorrow, can the property absorb it without becoming a personal emergency? Your reserve target depends on the property and your risk tolerance. We'll dig into that later in the series, but number 15, projected versus actual. The most useful report in the bill. Assumptions next to what happened. Rent, $24,600 projected, $22,800 actual. Maintenance, $1,000 projected, $1,200 actual. Vacancy, $1,025 projected, $1,500 actual. Cash flow, $6,000 projected, $1,116 actual. Now you can see exactly where the property missed. And that's how your underwriting gets sharper on the next deal. Picture owning 5 rentals. Without these numbers, you know how much rent came in and nothing else. Not which property actually performs best. One collects less rent but needs almost no maintenance. Another brings in more but eats itself alive in repairs. Good records turn those differences into decisions you can act on. If this were my property, I'd review it monthly and do a full pass every quarter. Income, vacancy, maintenance reserves, actual cash flow measured against the original plan. Not because one slow month means sell, because I want to know if the property is still doing the job I bought it to do. Now here's some common beginner mistakes. Calling rent minus mortgage cash flow, it ignores real operating costs, not tracking small repairs. They add up to a large annual total. Spending every dollar of positive cash flow. Some belongs to the next major system. Ignoring vacancy until it happens. You should expect it. Manage for free in your own analysis. Your time has value. Never compare actual results to your original projection, which means never learning where your underwriting was wrong. After buying a rental, track gross collected rent, vacancy, debt service, taxes, insurance, maintenance, major repairs, management, turnover, owner paid expenses, actual cash flow, cash on cash return, reserves, and projected versus actual. The spreadsheet you built before buying tells you what you hoped would happen. Your records after buying tell you exactly what happened. That's the number that matters. Now, before you call a rental successful, ask how much rent did I actually collect? What did vacancy cost? What did repairs cost? What's my real annual cash flow? How far off are those numbers from what I projected? If you can't answer those, you may own a rental property without actually knowing how it's performing. Sometimes once you start tracking all of this, you'll find something frustrating. The rental that should have produced great cash flow barely produces anything at all. In the next video, we'll cover why your rental property isn't cash flowing like you expected, and the expenses that finally eat the gap between projected and actual profit. Watch that next. But again, download the free summer survival guide using the link below in the description. It'll help you spot when simplified cash flow examples are used to make real estate investing look easier than it is. And as always, subscribe to Seminar Insider for practical real estate education, minus the high-ticket seminar pressure.